everyone? Shane Jenkins with another episode of Liberty's Cage. This is like take 3 or 4. We're trying to get things together here. It's what happens when you produce and edit and record your own show. I'm not any of those things. I'm a former roofing salesman and an oil field guy. So give me a sledgehammer or get me up on a roof. I'm good. Not with the technical stuff. But I'm honored to have my friend and my brother, fellow Gulag gang member, not really a gang, but a club, an unfortunate club that we're all a part of. Kyle Fitzsimons, buddy, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, Shane. How are you today?
I'm doing good. We got things working now. I'm really happy about that. So you look like you're getting some sun. I saw you came by the house. I guess it was last week. I got to meet your mom. That was a pleasure, man. She's an angel. Just thinking about the prayers that she used to say for you and and all of us and the ladies in her Bible study and stuff like that. Just really, I don't know, it just really kind of hit home. I had a good, it was good seeing you, man. I always feel like whenever I'm around a J6er or especially people that I'm close to that we did a lot of difficult emotional, mental time with, that I just feel like a little sliver, like I feel like my heart's kind of been shattered and I feel like a little sliver of it's been added back to it.
Well, I got to say is that it was a pleasure to share my mother with you. She's a wonderful lady, and I know she enjoyed meeting you and sitting with you. And we're basically meeting one of her son's brothers. And that's exactly what we are, Shane. You're one of my brothers. What we went through is something that is formative, certainly, to say the least. And I know she was very happy to finally meet you. So I'm glad we came through.
I think it's important for, our families because if I had to guess, you're probably not the same as you were before you went and did this time, right? And I would imagine that she doesn't understand. She can't really grasp like what extended periods of solitary confinement is or what the full weight and force of the federal government coming down on you is, like losing family, friends, loved ones, going through divorces, all these things that so many people went through. She doesn't really have any, she only has your example, really, I feel like, unless she's met other people, which maybe she has, but I feel like, we were talking about, I still have over here in the corner my unpacked January 6th baggage, right? And we were talking about this earlier before the show, and I think there was kind of an issue there between you and Mom. And I feel like not only literally, but I feel like metaphorically, we have a lot left to unpack from January 6th in our hearts, in our minds, and in our souls.
You're not kidding. One of the things that befell me inside was a divorce. And, you think about the life that you put on the altar when you became involved with something like this and what you didn't get back and who walked that road with you and who didn't. So, coming home after pardon was not the homecoming I think a lot of us envisioned. I would say there was a serious regression in my life. I'm living at home with my mother, and I got to say that just as you spoke about, like the unpacking, there's a lot of trauma that we're healing through, and I needed a safe space. I don't know how anybody may feel about that, but I needed to deal with what I was going through because we were basically removed from a situation overnight. I still had years to go, and there's no expression of thanks to President Trump for the pardon that he bestowed upon us. And that's, I think, what I've been filling my hands with this past year and a half, is that I can't pay it forward enough. There's not enough grace I can show in my life. So, unpacking the boxes. It's been an issue between me and Ma. I've got boxes of things that I have sent home. Obviously, they're not the type of souvenirs that you want to think about, but they have to be unpacked and addressed. And I think that now is beginning to be that time that we can with a healthy and clear mind, unpack that. Hey, I see that. Now that's postcards. That's postcards people sent us when we were in DC.
Yep, from the group. I forget what they call the group. It's Heather, and
Patriot Mail Project.
No, it's Postcards for Patriots. Is that what it was? I think it was. It's on here. I have to look it up. Yeah, Postcards for Patriots. Yeah,
it was the group from Virginia. That's right.
Postcards for Patriots. Heather. I won't say her last name, but she watches the show, and this actually flew over the banister on the 4th of July, and I've told this
top
story.
tier.
Yeah, top tier. And I've thought about, like, you know, these things have, you know, Melis's name, there's Jeff Sable.
We all donated postcards to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I have some for me, Garrett Miller. Yeah, Sable. But you know, I'll never forget, you know, watching those fireworks through the bars. Man, and yelling "still there," like, God dang, you know, like, just, you can't write a movie script like that. You know what I mean? It's just something that is, I don't know. I feel like I went to war and I come back and, like, all I get to talk about is, like, my war stories with my buddies, right? And I feel like these are some of the things that I get to share, but they are, you know, I think I'm getting sentimental as I get older, but, you know, as much as I hated some of those days, like, I honestly, God, I wouldn't trade them, man.
Well, there's something that you had said, which was a beautiful thought back then, which is that it's an honor to suffer with you men. Mm-hmm. And honestly, when we were going through it and 23 hours a day in that cell and then singing the anthem through glass at 9 o'clock, like, that was the solidarity that we had to expect from one another, because who else was there?
Nobody. The guards weren't there for us. Their families couldn't be there for us, you know.
There was no visitation. And that's, Shane, that's what it's like. Beautiful organic displays of support propped up around us, like the Freedom Corner outside the jail. And those live streams basically showing the solidarity on the outside.
Right.
Just really, like, yards away. Man. People, free Americans, were singing the anthem with us while we were inside, locked up.
Well, I know I got letters from people saying, you know, they used to bring me to tears. They would say, you know, every night at 9 o'clock, we take the kids and we stand on the front porch and turn on the porch light and sing the anthem with you guys in unity. And I'm just like, they really are here with us. They do. There are people that care, because I don't know if you remember or not, but man, that first, like, year, especially the first 6 months, was like, we were like pariahs. We were like, we were radioactive, do not touch, steer clear of. Oddly enough, Vladimir Putin was the first one to actually mention us in a backhanded, like, you know,
yeah.
He was given, I guess Biden was giving him a hard time. Who was the guy that eventually ended up getting killed in Russia, but he was a political protester for...
Navalny.
Is it? Yeah, so it was. I can't remember.
Navalny.
Navalny, yeah. It was Navalny. Yeah, Navalny. And, you know, Biden was like, you've got this guy Navalny as a political prisoner. And Putin was like, well, you've got people who went to protest and have their voices heard right there in Washington, D.C. at the Capitol, and you've got them right there in D.C. being held hostage. So it's weird that a foreign leader, would understand and know that we were there. You know what I mean? And be somewhat sympathetic, or, you know.
Well, I think that there was obviously this idea that maybe the response was a little heavy-handed.
To say the least. Understatement of the year.
But I'm not... Here's the thing. At that time, if you think about it, like, if you bought what they were selling, we were terrorists, Shane. We were people that were not deserving of any mercy. Yeah. And that really struck a chord with me, because you think about maybe what motivated you to go that day, and it certainly wasn't the end of the country that you loved. It wasn't
No.
the trying to subvert the
Overthrow the government.
or even worse, I hated this idea that we were called insurrectionists or we were there somehow to subvert the electoral process. When, if you think about the day and then the laws that were passed afterwards and the precedents that had been set in history prior to, yeah, January 6th is a very important day because that is the day the election is certified. And if there's an objection to the certification, like there were at the time,
that's a time to object.
Well, this blows my mind. Why, if we were getting what we wanted when we were protesting for them to object,
right,
why the heck would we interrupt that process?
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
But it makes sense when you think about, everybody was paraded into the rotunda for the photo shoot of look at these insurrectionists. But conversely, if you had that manufactured event on the east side with Columbus doors opening, on the west side where you and I were, it was a much different story. And I think that is where a lot of people maybe know or don't know that the ugliest parts of January 6th occurred on the west side of the building that day. I got to say this.
Let's circle back to January 6th in a minute. When we come back, we got to go to commercial break here in like 20 seconds, but I want to hear who Fitzy used to be. I believe he used to be a butcher somewhere in there. You don't spoil it. That's a teaser for everybody when we come back from break. We're going to get back. We're going to come back with Kyle Fitzsimons, my brother from the D.C. Gulag. We're going to be back with more Liberty's Cage right after this.
Most people think they have options when searching for the best deals when they travel. But here's the shocking truth. 100% of the major travel agencies are owned by just two entities, Expedia and Booking Holdings. They claim to offer the lowest rates, but due to the hotel rate parity agreement, they all have the same pricing, limiting genuine competition. When you book through these sites, you act as your own travel agent, but the profits are going to organizations that don't support our patriot values. We cannot allow that to continue. So, we decided to make travel great again by starting a US-based travel membership platform, mypatriottravel.com. We are patriots helping patriots. Together, we can disrupt the travel industry by not spending our hard-earned dollars supporting the radical left. For just $29.99 per month, you gain access to true wholesale rates on travel, saving you on average 35% and up to 65%. Book as often as you like, with no limits. Keep your hard-earned dollars in your pocket and spend them on things you need and want to support. Go to mypatriottravel.com/TAFW and grab your membership today. mypatriottravel.com/TAFW. Making travel great again.
Are you a true American? Then it's time to get connected. Download the America First Media and Television app and stay up to date with real news, bold voices, and live events from the America First Warehouse. From national broadcasts and exclusive shows to comedy nights, concerts, and special events. It's all right at your fingertips. No filters, no spin, just America First. Download the America First Media and Television app today and be part of the movement.
I'm sure you guys remember the platinum single, Justice for All, with Donald Trump and the J6 Prison Choir. We'll get ready for round two. We're coming out with Anthem of the Free with High Res and the J6 Prison Choir. It's coming out now. It's pre-sale until December 19th when it drops. Get yours on all platforms, Google Play, Apple iTunes. Get it. It's going to be hot.
Justice for all, our voices ring. The anthem of the free.
It's me, Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land.
The America First Warehouse, a beacon for the sea, a symbol of unity. For the patriots of America, we stand tall and free. In the America First Warehouse, where our hearts will always
everyone? Shane Jenkins back with segment 2 of Liberty's Cage with Kyle Fitzsimons, my DC brother, my brother from another mother in real life. We were just talking off air about what brought us to DC, and Kyle brought up some interesting stuff. But I'm going to kind of share, like, I knew, like, in my spirit before I ever went to January 6th. I was actually, this started back in October, really the summer before. 2 young men I knew had died. They were involved in drugs and violence and stuff like that. Like, they were really younger versions of me. They were like 21, 22 years old. They used to come to my house because they knew it was a safe place where they could just talk. We celebrated their birthdays with them and stuff like that. They were friends of my girlfriend. And one of them died running from the police. He drowned. The other one got, somebody gave him a hot shot of drug. They gave him drugs with rat poison mixed in it. And both of them died within about 3 months of each other in the summer. And this was during, COVID lockdowns and all that stuff had kind of happened. And I voted during that period in Texas, and then this kind of led into, I remember God, like, telling me, I saw this fire, and it was like a fire ring. Like, there was a stone around it, and it was like, God's like telling me, like, Shane, he goes, you're not in the fire. He's like, but you're dancing around it, right? And I found there's one thing I know in the Bible. It says God is an all-consuming fire. And I watched him literally consume those young men. They were living their lives, and they got consumed. And it scared me whenever I heard that, like, whisper in my head. And so I moved from Dallas-Fort Worth to Houston, was the best man at my friend's wedding November 1st, watched the election November 3rd. And from that point forward, I just really, I had this, and this is going to sound weird, but I literally had a picture, a painting, like, flash before my eyes, or like a vision, right? And it was this little boy on, like, this cliff ledge with this giant wave, like, crashing down. And I felt for that little boy, but I knew that little boy was me. And it was like, he's all alone, and this giant, like, 20-foot wave's about to crash down on him. And I told my mentor about it, and, we're doing prison ministry, going into prison, sharing the gospel and stuff like that. And he's like, storms come, storms come and they go. It's like a pruning. It could, storms can blow down trees or whatever. Like, it's not necessarily always a bad thing. And he got me this hat, and it said "Into the Storm," and it has this story, this buffalo story, where when storms come upon a herd of buffalo, they turn and they face into the storm, right? And it just was this whole thing. I got fired I called my boss out for stealing from his employees on the roofing company that I was working for. He was lying to us about how much money it was costing to put the roofs up and all this stuff, cheating us out of money. He fired me on the spot. So when Trump put out that fateful tweet that said, "Come to D.C., join the Stop the Steal rally, and then we'll be wild," in all capital letters, I had a pocket full of money, and I was like, well, and I just felt like, and I had been following Q and QAnon and all that stuff, and I just felt like, I think the most intense driving force behind me was, like, I with my own eyes, noticed the anomalies in the election. Whether it's 200,000 straight votes consecutively, like, that's statistically impossible. You got more voters voting in counties than are registered to vote. You got the Fulton County debacle with the thing out from under the table. You got them kicking out the poll watchers and all that. Like, there's just too many. And then the COVID mail-in ballots, all that on top of everything else. And I'm only talking, like, really limited, like when we wanted them to challenge the 5 states, the swing states, with very small margins, like 11,000, 10,000 votes, in there. That's not very much. Like, especially in these cities that have millions of people, that's a very fine margin. And, I felt I would be remiss if I did not go to Washington, D.C. to make my voice heard. I'm not going to lie. Part of me, there was there was some 1776. I am part Scottish, so there's some 1776 in there. I didn't take guns and wear a suicide vest though to go overthrow the government. I was hoping, what my hopes were was like something is going to happen, like the military's going to step in. Trump was going to declare martial law, or they're going to, or even just what we hope would happen. The senators would object, the Congress people would object, they would send it back to the states and hope to God that they find something that they can prove and redo the election or whatever. But Kyle, if you want to jump in, brother.
More votes than Obama, more votes than Hillary, more votes than anyone ever. And he campaigned from his basement, folks. I mean, it was an impossible thing to believe. And yeah, we didn't believe it. And then the thing that killed me too is that obviously they were standing for Trump, and they slow rolled him through the courts in those months after the election, because they drag it to a point. It's a moot issue. And we watched that in real time from the election going into December. And by the time Trump tweeted, "Hey, we'll be wild," I think a lot of people already were like seeing the slide into, oh man, we can't even vote our ways out of a paper bag again. Like,
right.
The republic is lost. Like, holy crow! And then you had weird anomalies. Like, I'm just going to throw them out there. And there were things that happened in the environment in America where you were like, well, maybe they contributed in some way, or maybe they were part of a cover-up. But do you remember in Nashville, Tennessee, on Christmas Day, the explosion at the AT&T data exchange building?
I do, yeah. It looked like a drone. Yeah.
Well, it looked like covering up the tracks of whoever had, done the electronic intrusion into the election. Two, and this is like an esoteric thing and gets into astrology and whatever you want to say, but right. January 6th fell on a feast day, the feast day of Epiphany, okay? And that's a special day. It's the last day of Christmas. Epiphany itself is a word that brings to mind, illumination. You something you realized.
Light bulb going on.
Okay. But right before that, and right before Christmas, there was something interesting going on in the sky. There was a conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter. And if you think about those two bodies in the sky and what they historically, are associated with, those two bodies meeting in the sky right around this time when Western civilization looked like it was going to go under, yeah, that was time to show up, right?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. And so what is that, all those things combined kind of led you to you were from Maine?
Yeah, I was living. So New England is New England is a beautiful part of the country. I recommend everybody to at least take a vacation once to New England. Live up there if you like snow. But the wonderful thing about Maine is that the geographic area of New England, it's half of it. So Maine's a great state, and I loved Maine. I moved up there with my wife-to-be, and under Trump's first administration, I got married, I bought a home, nice. I bought a truck, I started a business, I had a baby. So when you think about all the good things that happened under Trump's first term for me,
right.
Certainly I felt like no other president in my personal history had ever done more for me or my country than that man had. And certainly, again, this idea of him pardoning me when his next term, all I can say is that I'm eager to build back all the things that I had built in his first term.
That's right.
And as far as like what may have motivated me, obviously there was some historical precedent with, I believe, the Quincy Adams presidency and Andrew Jackson. So he who counts the votes is important. Obviously. So this
Dominion, Smartmatic, right?
Yeah, you're not kidding. Or even on the pedestal at that day at the rostrum, in front of the twin fascists in the Senate hall. It would have been Pence who could have made the call to set aside the votes that were in dispute, send them back to the states, and say, I don't want to seal this with a certification.
We want elections above reproach. Come back when you got some.
and honestly, Shane, that is what I was in D.C. that day to protest and support. And I thought, honestly, that if you wanted like an idea in history of what that may have looked like, there's a word, interregnum, okay? And the root is between kings. And it came about under the Roman Republic when there was a disputed election. And the citizens stepped into Rome to run the state until the election was figured out. So it's not an unheard of precedent that the people descend on the Capitol when things are in trouble.
Right. It's our capital. It's our nation.
Yes.
Like, that's what they don't understand. I think there's been this, they've lost this idea that they work for us. Like, I've really, really have a problem with like these people that just go in there and they're like, oh, we need, Ukraine needs another $100 billion or Israel needs another $20 billion. Or like, for what? We've got enough problems to deal with here.
Who do they work for? Who do they work for?
Not us.
Listen, if you're if you're a political observer at this time, I think that there's a definite fight for the soul and future of this nation. And we need incorruptible folk heroes. How about that?
That's right.
Okay, so Shane, I'm looking at you. Maybe not you and me. Maybe we're lost causes, but I certainly hope that we can identify some up-and-coming warriors who can get into the political sphere and advocate for Americans and America. Is that a foreign? And believe me, at this time, it almost feels like that's a foreign concept. Like,
is that so? Yeah, Chuck Grassley was like, I think it's in America's best interest to send another such and such $1 billion to Ukraine. And I'm like, how hard is it to understand? Like, how lost are you that Americans deserve to be taken care of? We got to go to commercial break, Fitzy. We'll be back with more Kyle Fitzsimons and Shane Jenkins, your host of Liberty's Cage, right after this.
It's me, Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic place in all the land. Hey, I'm here getting cleansed up. You know why? Because Sugar Creek Goods is a great place by patriots, making patriot soaps, making me smell nice. And that's what's nice. Who wants to go down the street and smell of somebody bad in New York City? Hey, by the way, what's this thing for?
250 years ago, a nation was born, built on courage, driven by freedom, defined by patriots who stood their ground. Today, we don't just remember that legacy, we wear it. This is more than a shirt. It's a symbol of strength, freedom, and pride. I'm Steve Stern, COO of theflagshirt.com, and I invite you to celebrate 250 years of the United States with us. Wear your pride, stand for something, get your shirts today.
You know what is more disappointing than Gino Visconti, everyone?
My sex life?
No, bad cell service. Let's make fun of Gino. Oh wait, he's here.
Well, speaking of the opposite of his sex life, these people have towers that are huge and they're everywhere. And while you're traveling, you can use these huge towers. PatriotMobile.com / it bends to the right. I don't have to tell you. TAFW. And then you can talk about me behind my back.
Patriotic people doing patriotic things.
Corporate transfer. Fine professional, moving and storage, and inventory management.
Are you a true American? Then it's time to get connected. Download the America First Media and Television app and stay up to date with real news, bold voices, and live events from the America First Warehouse. From national broadcasts and exclusive shows to comedy nights, concerts, and special events. It's all right at your fingertips. No filters, no spin, just America First. Download the America First Media and Television app today and be part of the movement.
It's me, Joe the Box, and I'm John the Blanket with the America First Podcast.
That's what I'm talking about. The Fred Rubino Podcast coming to you from the America First Warehouse.
Welcome, everybody, to the James Justice Show, tearing these airwaves apart with all the craziness that goes on in the world.
Welcome
welcome to the Patriots podcast. Good evening, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the On the Right Side podcast here at the America First Warehouse in Long Island, New York.
Shane Jenkins here with another episode of Liberty's Cage.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Red, Right, and True.
We are streaming live on America First Media and Television app.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Downey Jr. podcast. Be free, stay free.
Back, everybody. Shane Jenkins here with Liberty's Cage with my buddy, my brother, Kyle Fitzsimons. We were kind of talking about, the 4th of July, some things going on in the D.C. jail. I had two questions. How did the feds run down on you? And then two, any other more memorable experiences that we had in the D.C. jail that you want to share with the audience?
Well, I got to say, comparatively to a lot of the other January 6ers, my arrest was very constitutional. Okay, it was actually handled by local sheriffs, and I was asked to surrender, and I did so without being, bearcatted or swatted. And they were considerate enough to, not have that happen in front of my 18-month-old daughter at the time. So
good on the show. I think that probably took some pushback from the that doesn't sound like the feds usually just go in there like, hey, we're going in. That doesn't sound like. Sounds like the sheriff's like, look, I'm the highest law officer in this county. Does that sound like possible or no?
I want to believe that. Shane. I don't know why they handled me like that, but I'm grateful. Believe me, I'm grateful. Because certainly I wasn't there to cause trouble. I didn't have any criminal history prior, and I wasn't, exactly looking forward to volunteering to face the music, but I certainly, and as is shown, I certainly didn't shrink from it when it came.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So you get arrested and we end up in the DC jail. Like, what do you remember from that? Like, is there, you used to do, I will say this, I want to give you some credit, man. I always could lean on you for historically. We had a lot of good conversations, you and I, Sable, but I always valued your insight into history and its relation to today, you know what I mean? And, but yeah, I just want to hear some stuff about the Gulag that you recall. You used to do the artwork too, the comics, like the comedic art type stuff too.
Well, for me, the time inside was kind of debilitating. It was depressing, to say the least. And I think that you may agree, I was definitely the Eeyore type in there. I was definitely wearing on my sleeve the misery that I was feeling. And if you got letters from me on the outside, you may not have realized that. I may have actually encouraged you, because that was how I wanted to be seen. I didn't want to project myself as this wretch that needed your pity. I wanted to encourage you because you were out there fighting the fight. I was already on the sidelines. What am I going to do? You're the one in the trenches right now. You're the one who needs the motivation. You're the one who's got to deal with Biden on the streets.
Yeah, that's right.
I was a done deal. And I did like making the art because, it allowed a little bit of political cartoonery, allowed me to be creative, provide an outlet. And I think a lot of people responded well to that. I mean, they made books about the letters I was sending out. And I'm proud of that time. And another thing about that time is that certainly it was done to us to achieve a narrative. When you think about us not being able to get grooming, having to present ourselves in front of the judges looking like unshaven
homeless people, yeah.
Really, like this was what we were dealing with, and the no religious services, the no visitation. Obviously, when we left the DC jail, you have to understand that there was a remarkable amount of reform that we were being thanked for by fellow inmates and guards, because honestly, we were so high profile that the microscope got put on them. They had several visits from the marshals, from congressmen, congresswomen,
groups of people coming.
multiple occasions. So you got to think of just like it by just sheer, inertia, they had to change and improve. And I think one of the things that I take away is they didn't have delivery of hot food in hot carts before we started writing grievance paperwork on them.
Yeah.
You think about how many men and women have been through the DC jail.
Right.
Give them a hot meal.
Yeah.
Give them a hot meal.
Right. How difficult is that? What's funny is I've been to CPAC twice. I went to Turning Point once, and I think I've met more Congress people in the DC jail than I did at any one of those events, or all of them combined.
Well, I'll say this. I think maybe talking to Congress people, because part of my case was that I did try to talk to Congress people ahead of January 6th, trying to get them to object. Everything you can say will be used against you. So,
yeah. Did they use it against you? Did you go to trial, or what did they do to you? I don't even remember. I'm just if you want to, you can.
I did go to trial, and it was one of those situations.
5 years?
No, it was a biblical number, 7.5.
Okay.
And
you got more than me, and you didn't even have a criminal record.
I got a story for you. Because it really.
That's horrible. I'm laughing, but it's not funny. But it is. It's not. It's horrible. But
so I don't like speaking ill of anybody or being bitter about anything in this whole process, because we've walked a long road. I think at the beginning of that road, you like to blame others. Middle of that road, you're blaming yourself. At the end of the road, you don't blame anyone. You understand that.
Right. You're like, it's time to go.
This is your path. So, what were we talking about?
We were talking about you got more time than me.
Oh yeah, all right. So my judge, this is like the thing you block out some things, and it's like, well, I had a very interesting judge. His name is Contreras.
Okay.
He had made some comments prior to selecting what type of trial, which were maybe alarming. Alarming. He
said, alarming.
He admitted to taking Michael Flynn's plea deal. He put on the record ahead of things that there's rumors of him being part of the deep state. He sat on the FISA court under, the Russiagate stuff. He's personal friends with Peter Strzok. So it's like, he's listing these things off to me before I say, okay, I'll take you for the bench trial.
Is that when he listed them off?
Yeah. I still took the bench trial because what was the jury pool doing?
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, there was no way, Shane. There was no way, Shane, that we were going to get any fair shake at this. And that's why I took it to trial, and that's why I did do a bench trial, because we already filed motion saying that we didn't think the jury pool was unbiased. So why would we then accept a jury after saying that?
Right. Yeah. No, they were biased. Yeah, I get what you're saying. They denied my motion for a bench trial. But my thing was, and I think, Judge Mehta denied mine. That was part of my appeal, which is really unprecedented. They've never heard of anybody doing that.
Well, with Contreras, I will say I appreciated his conduct in the courtroom. I didn't feel, because there was certainly some commentary coming out of those judges that was very partisan. And I do appreciate that I did not perceive that from Judge Contreras. And interesting thing in my sentencing is the story I was getting at about the 7.25 years I was sentenced to, is that the DOJ was going for twice that. They were going for 15 and some odd years. And at sentencing, the prosecutor brought up the fable or the parable rather, of Solomon splitting the baby. And I think the intent was to like broadcast to the judge that he'd be comfortable with the sentence being cut in half. That like, but we all know Solomon didn't cut the baby in half. And Judge Contreras reminded him of that fact. And it's like, please cut the baby in half.
We love babies. We don't do that type of thing.
We love babies, but honestly, that was the thought. Like 15 years, 7.5 years. I get what he was saying, but like, and then Judge Contreras came with the 7.25 years. So that was a nail biter for me. And hey, folks, have you ever thought about what it's like to wait? What kind of number you're going to have months-wise behind bars? Oh, well, that's an interesting bit of anxiety.
I actually guessed mine with the U.S. Marshals. They're like, how much time do you think you're going to? I said 84 months. And I came back and he said 84 months. And they're like, you were right. I was like, I will say this. I have a very compelling backstory. I have been through quite a bit in my 49 years. I know I don't look 49 years old, but I am now. But in that, my lawyer was like, tell them your life story because it's very compelling and they will have mercy on you if you tell them your life story. So I did. He did tell me, Judge Tomato was like, I noticed you didn't say one thing, though. You talked for 20 minutes and you didn't say this. You didn't say you were sorry. And I sat there and I was like, because I'm thinking, because I'm not sorry. Because you guys literally stole an election right out from underneath the American people. All these people, and I think about all the harm that caused from, the girl in Georgia, I guess Lake and Riley that got murdered, all the open border things, Jocelyn Nungry that got murdered and raped in Houston by those 2 illegal immigrants, and just like all the deaths that it caused. Like, just you think about all that, and I'm not sorry for fighting back when I was assaulted.
Well, the 4 deaths that day.
Yeah, for sure.
Only protesters died on January 6th, and they died at Freedom's feet. Freedom is the statue that sits atop the Capitol. It faces west. Those people died at Freedom's feet.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we'll be back with more Liberty's Cage right after this.
The America First Ultra MAGA Store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Ultra MAGA Store.
It's me, Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land.
Hey, Paul, I was having a pillow fight with Gino's wife.
Me too.
Yeah.
She's not supposed to stay up that late.
I have the video. And now let me tell you, talk about soft. When I think soft pillows, I think of other than Gino's wife, mypillow.com, because these are the best pillows you're ever going to get. You can go to mypillow.com /TAFW. Go now, get your MyPillow right now.
Are you a true American? Then it's time to get connected. Download the America First Media and Television app and stay up to date with real news, bold voices, and live events from the America First Warehouse. From national broadcasts and exclusive shows to comedy nights, concerts, and special events. It's all right at your fingertips. No filters, no spin, just America First. Download the America First Media and Television app today.
I got to tell you, a lot of my followers are asking, hey, Midnight, where are you getting all that energy from? I say, you want to know the truth? I take about 25 milligrams of Adderall a day. But that eventually ends, and then that's where Agara coffee comes in. I start drinking this stuff, and it boosts my energy. It shoots me right through to the moon. If you're not drinking Agara coffee and you need that extra boost during the middle of the day, I'm telling you right now, get this into your system, and I promise you that it will absolutely take you to a whole nother level. Midnight, I am out. 1, 2, 3. Woo!
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed, because there is nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
I'm Shane Jenkins, your host of Liberty's Cage, with your last segment with Kyle Fitzsimons. We've been talking about a lot of heavy things. Fitzy, we talked about some job stuff. I think you were having an issue. I don't know if you want to kind of touch on that or whatever, but here's the kind of, I'll set the stage a little bit. Like, Peter Steger applied for jobs, and Peter Steger never been in trouble before January 6th. Master carpenter, applied at Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, Ace Hardware, and I want to say like Amazon maybe. Gets through all these things. They're like, oh, you're so overqualified. We really want to hire you. You seem wonderful, and we have a specific position for you. And then he does the background check, and they're all like, no, we're gonna not hire anybody for that position. We can't hire you. Blah blah blah. Whatever. We're gonna go a different direction. And you know, for the most part, on people's criminal background, it shows. You know, it'll still show your charges, but just below it in fine print, it says pardoned by the President of the United States. And I don't know if that's an instance that happened to you, but I do know that there is some workplace bias, and it has been challenging for people when they finally do get their feet underneath them to try to get back into the workforce. And so I just wanted to kind of touch on some of that. If you have anything that relates to that, you can share it. If not, we can go on to something else.
Yeah. Prior to January 6th, I had been working as a meat cutter, as a butcher. That had put me in contact with people raising their own animals. It was something I had gotten into as meaningful work. And at the time, I thought a lot about sparing people the emotion of having to dispatch animals that they had cared for. As the final service, I could take that suffering onto myself and, you know, provide a service. But after you go through something like this, do you really want to go back to a line of work like that? And I got to say the answer is honestly no, I don't. And this past year, like I said, a lot of grace paying it forward. I've been volunteering wherever I can. Most consistent place I volunteer with is the Prison Book Project in Titusville, Florida. And they have a mission of sending Christian religious texts, Bibles, into prisons and jails across America to the captive audience that absolutely can benefit from the good word and the good news. But this past year, I had the wonderful opportunity to spend a quarter of the year as a beekeeper. And I had hives of my own in Maine and loved keeping bees. And when the opportunity arose for a local honey operation to take on a beekeeper, I really enjoyed that work. And I'll say it's also with a little bit of a sadness that I can say that because of my experiences, I'm a hard fit for labor now. Even passing background checks, even having a college degree and lots of experience and an ability to learn quickly, I'm altered. I have to say that there is now a significant portion of my life that is too exposed to the need for praise that I can ignore it any longer. And I'll give you an example. Today, I'm going to go meet a stranger in a nursing home. I don't know him, but he's a brother. I'm a member of the Knights of Columbus, and my father was a knight. my great uncles were knights, and it's a wonderful organization that has, provided a place for me this past year, a fraternity, if you will, and it's been wonderful for me. So that's what I got going on later today. Is again just continue to pay it forward because
I love you, bro. I do. I'm proud of you. I know that we didn't pick this path, but I know, I'm sitting here producing and editing a podcast and heading a nonprofit. God took us out of our lives, and now we've got to figure out what our new calling and our new purpose is. And I think you're walking in that, and I'm cheering for you in that. And I think that this has been something that's been so difficult for everybody because typically, like Steger, he can't go do these things that he's very familiar with equipment or tools or whatever, or even if he wanted to. I don't know. It's like you say, some people don't even want to go back and do what they want to. I feel like we have such an opportunity to make such a greater impact on the world, and I honestly feel like working a 9-to-5 job would be a waste of our time. And I don't know how we make a living not doing that, but I think we've got to figure out how to do that. I think that's just kind of where we've got to land. But I think that we've seen a lot, we've experienced a lot. 95% of the guys have great hearts and want to serve and want to help and are believers, and service oriented. So I don't know. It's exciting. I can't wait to see, how it go. I want to hear about this guy that you're going to meet, and
Well, I feel like one of the tragic things about a case like mine, having a divorce, having really having my ability to be a father directly in my own daughter's life, and how did I redirect that love of the father? Because it still exists, it still burns. And again, it's like, do you have a heart so big now? Yeah, bigger. Because you think about what we held going that day. My mom had a wonderful thought about that. She called us canaries in the coal mine.
Yeah.
And the wonderful thing, about this canary is that this canary has come back from the dead. Yeah. So we gave our message. We warned the world. But we've been given this new life, and it's, how do you top that? So that's right. That's the challenge for us now, is to find our purpose. And I got to say this, in the past 150 years, you think about all the destructive ideologies that have swept the continent, swept this planet, and what they have meant to relationships between men and women, between the old and young, between the poor and rich. And I got to tell you this, you and me, we're on the front lines. We are actively running out into no man's land, providing triage and pulling back people for life. For life.
Well, I know. I will say this, Fitzy, I had the opportunity to mentor youth in West Houston after I got out of prison, and in 90, these kids were coming to a basketball night. I would play basketball for 2-3 hours with these kids. The ladies would take the girls that would show up and take them, and they would, have a little Bible study, and then they would cook food, and we would all sit down together after we were done playing basketball and eat. But there is a huge need for men and to mentor young men, especially in communities. And I'm just saying I don't know what that looks like, but that's something that's been on my heart a lot lately, is there's such a need for men.
Well, it looks like this, Shane. The shortest line in the Bible is Jesus wept. I love you, brother. And if you are listening, if you're a young man that needs direction or is looking for that direction, brother, walk into a church. I gotta say, Catholic church is usually one in every town.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a shameless plug for Pope Leo, but I gotta say, once you become a Knights of Columbus, hey, Pope John Paul called us the strong right hand of the church, and that was another motivating factor for me. Was Pope John Paul II? Do you know, the summer of 2020, the summer of love, You know, a shrine that Trump visited during all that chaos? The shrine of Pope John Paul II in D.C. On January 5th, I was there offering prayers. The next day, it was historic.
Yeah, we stumbled. We crashed our car into history, Fitzy. We literally stumbled into history. It's funny while we're doing plugs. I don't know if you can see. Go to 1776.shop. You can get your very own Capitol Raiders hat. It looks like the Oakland Raiders, but it says Capitol Raiders, and it has the QAnon shaman as the logo instead of the pirate. Not a huge fan of the QAnon shaman, but that's another story. But they also have T-shirts and hoodies and everything else. So,
Shane, I don't know. I don't want to know what my merch is going to look like then. I'm still living that photo. No, I don't think I can live that one down.
Yeah, the whole
Hey, here's Johnny. Like, what?
Here's Johnny. There you go. That's good. Here's Johnny. Here's Fitzy.
I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom.
You know, I mean, I will say this. You know, I don't think there's what they were doing to people in the tunnel, and you know, to Roseanne Boylan, Ashley Babbitt, Kevin Greason, Benjamin Phillips, people. You know, it was uncalled for. They hit me from behind with a baton. They pepper sprayed me 4 times, and I had taken no action against police. And I know.
I ended the night in the ER.
Yeah, I know you were unarmed and got the heck whapped out of you a few times, I think. So, hopefully they compensate you for that. So,
at the time when I went home, I just thought like,
right, yeah.
But no,
well, our time's up, Fitzy. We got to get out of here. Thank you so much for coming on. I'll give you a few seconds. We got like 20 seconds. You want to say anything?
Shane, there's been so many wonderful people that have supported us throughout our journey and what January 6th did to so many people. And again, this message is for the people who were not our supporters. I'm not a dragon that went unslain. I was punished, and it hurt. And I love you. You're my countrymen.
Love across America, y'all. We're one country. We got to make it work, so let's figure it out. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Liberty's Cage. Fitzy, we love you. We'll see you soon, brother. God bless y'all.
God bless you.
For all to see, a symbol of hope, a symbol